This is part 16, continuing the reading of Surah Al-Kahf, verse 75. Translated by Abdullah Yusuf Ali, read by Tariq El-Amin. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer.
He answered, Did I not tell thee that thou canst have no patience with me? Moses said, If I ever ask thee about anything after this, keep me not in thy company. Then wouldst thou have received full excuse from my side. Then they proceeded until when they came to the inhabitants of a town. They asked them for food, but they refused them hospitality. They found there a wall on the point of falling down, but he set it up straight. Moses said, If thou hadst wished, surely thou couldst have exacted some recompense for it. He answered, This is the parting between me and thee. Now will I tell thee the interpretation of those things over which thou wast unable to hold patience. As for the boat, it belonged to certain men in dire want. They plied on the water. I but wished to render it unserviceable, for there was after them a certain king who seized on every boat by force. As for the youth, his parents were people of faith, and we feared that he would grieve them by obstinate rebellion and ingratitude to Allah and man. So we desired that their Lord would give them in exchange a son better in purity of conduct and closer in affection. As for the wall, it belonged to two youths, orphans in the town. There was beneath it a buried treasure to which they were entitled. Their father had been a righteous man. So thy Lord desired that they should attain their age of full strength and get out their treasure, a mercy and favor from thy Lord. I did it not of my own accord. Such is the interpretation of those things over which thou wast unable to hold patience. They asked thee concerning Dhul-Qarnayn. Say, I will rehearse to you something of his story. Verily, we establish his power on earth, and we gave him the ways and the means to all ends. One such way he followed, until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it set in a spring of murky water. Near it he found a people. We said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, thou hast authority either to punish them or to treat them with kindness. He said, Whoever doth wrong, him shall we punish. Then shall he be sent back to his Lord, and he will punish him with a punishment unheard of before. But whoever believes and works righteousness, he shall have a goodly reward, and easy will be his task as we order it by our command. Then followed he another way, until when he came to the rising of the sun, he found it rising on a people for whom we had provided no covering protection against the sun. He left them as they were. We completely understood what was before him. Then followed he another way, until when he reached a tract between two mountains, he found beneath them a people who scarcely understood a word. They said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, the Gog and Magog people do great mischief on earth. Shall we then render thee tribute, in order that thou mightest erect a barrier between us and them? He said, The power in which my Lord has established me is better than tribute. Help me therefore with strength and labor. I will erect a strong barrier between you and them. Bring me blocks of iron. At length, when he had filled up the space between the two steep mountainsides, he said, Blow with your bellows. Then, when he had made it red as fire, he said, Bring me that I may pour over it molten lead. Thus were they made powerless to scale it or to dig through it. He said, This is a mercy from my Lord. But when the promise of my Lord comes to pass, he will make it into dust, and the promise of my Lord is true. On that day, we shall leave them to surge like waves on one another. The trumpet will be blown, and we shall collect them all together. And we shall present hell that day for unbelievers to see, all spread out. Unbelievers whose eyes had been under a veil from remembrance of me, and who had been unable even to hear. Do the unbelievers think that they can take my servants as protectors besides me? Verily, we have prepared hell for the unbelievers for their entertainment. Say, shall we tell you of those who lose most in respect of their deeds? Those whose efforts have been wasted in this life while they thought that they were acquiring good by their works? There are those who deny the signs of their Lord and the fact of their having to meet him in the hereafter. Vain will be their works, nor shall we, on the day of judgment, give them any weight. That is their reward, hell, because they rejected faith and took my signs and my messengers by way of jest. As to those who believe and work righteous deeds, they have for their entertainment the gardens of paradise, wherein they shall dwell for aye. No change will they wish for from them. Say, if the ocean were ink, wherewith to write out the words of my Lord, sooner would the ocean be exhausted than would be the words of my Lord, even if we added another ocean like it for its aid. Say, I am but a man like yourselves, but the inspiration has come to me that your Allah is one Allah. Whoever expects to meet his Lord, let him work righteousness, and in the worship of his Lord, admit no one as partner.
Surah Maryam, or Mary. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sod. This is a recital of the mercy of thy Lord to his servant Zakariya. Behold, he cried to his Lord in secret, praying, O my Lord, infirm indeed are my bones, and the hair of my head doth glisten with gray. But never am I unblessed, O my Lord, in my prayer to thee. Now I fear what my relatives and colleagues will do after me, but my wife is barren. So give me an heir as from thyself, one that will truly represent me, and represent the posterity of Jacob, and make him, O my Lord, one with whom thou art well pleased. His prayer was answered. O Zechariah, we give thee good news of a son. His name shall be Yahya. On none by that name have we conferred distinction before. He said, O my Lord, how shall I have a son, when my wife is barren, and I have grown quite decrepit from old age? He said, So it will be. Thy Lord saith, That is easy for me. I did indeed create thee before, when thou hadst been nothing. Zechariah said, O my Lord, give me a sign. Thy sign, was the answer, shall be that thou shalt speak to no man for 3 nights, although thou art not dumb. So Zechariah came out to his people from his chamber. He told them by signs to celebrate Allah's praises in the morning and in the evening. To his son came the command, O Yahya, take hold of the book with might. And we gave him wisdom, even as a youth, and piety for all creatures as from us, and purity. He was devout, and kind to his parents, and he was not overbearing or rebellious. So peace on him the day he was born, the day that he dies, and the day that he will be raised up to life again. Relate in the book the story of Mary, when she withdrew from her family to a place in the east. She placed a screen to screen herself from them. Then we sent her our angel, and he appeared before her as a man in all respects. She said, I seek refuge from thee to Allah, most gracious. Come not near if thou dost fear Allah. He said, Nay, I am only a messenger from thy Lord, to announce to thee the gift of a holy son. She said, How shall I have a son, seeing that no man has touched me, and I am not unchaste? He said, So it will be. Thy Lord saith, That is easy for me, and we wish to appoint him as a sign unto men and a mercy from us. It is a matter so decreed. So she conceived him, and she retired with him to a remote place. And the pains of childbirth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She cried in her anguish, Ah, woe that I had died before this! Would that I had been a thing forgotten and out of sight! But a voice cried to her from beneath the palm tree, Grieve not, for thy Lord hath provided a rivulet beneath thee. And shake towards thyself the trunk of the palm tree. It will let fall fresh ripe dates upon thee. So eat, and drink, and cool thine eye. And if thou dost see any man say, I have vowed a fast to Allah most gracious, and this day will I enter into no talk with any human being. At length she brought the babe to her people, carrying him in her arms. They said, O Mary, truly an amazing thing hast thou brought. O sister of Aaron, thy father was not a man of evil, nor thy mother a woman unchaste. But she pointed to the babe. They said, How can we talk to one who is a child in the cradle? He said, I am indeed a servant of Allah. He hath given me revelation and made me a prophet. And he hath made me blessed wherever I be, and hath enjoined on me prayer and charity as long as I live. He hath made me kind to my mother, and not overbearing or miserable. So peace is on me, the day I was born, the day that I die, and the day that I shall be raised up to life again. Such was Jesus, the Son of Mary. It is a statement of truth, about which they vainly dispute. It is not befitting to the majesty of Allah that he should beget a son. Glory be to him. When he determines a matter, he only says to it, Be. And it is. Verily, Allah is my Lord and your Lord. Him therefore serve ye. This is a way that is straight. But the sects differ among themselves, and woe to the unbelievers because of the coming judgment of a momentous day. How plainly they will see and hear the day that they will appear before us. But the unjust today are in error manifest. But warn them of the day of distress, when the matter will be determined. For behold, they are negligent, and they do not believe. It is we who will inherit the earth, and all beings thereon. To us will they all be returned. Also, mention in the book the story of Abraham. He was a man of truth, a prophet. Behold, he said to his father, O my father, why worship that which heareth not and seeth not, and can profit thee nothing? O my father, to me hath come knowledge which hath not reached thee. So follow me. I will guide thee to a way that is even and straight. O my father, serve not Satan, for Satan is a rebel against Allah most gracious. O my father, I fear lest a penalty afflict thee from Allah most gracious, so that thou become to Satan a friend. The father replied, Dost thou hate my gods, O Abraham? If thou forbear not, I will indeed stone thee. Now get away from me for a good long while. Abraham said, Peace be on thee. I will pray to my Lord for thy forgiveness, for he is, to me, most gracious. And I will turn away from you all, and from those whom ye invoke besides Allah. I will call on my Lord. Perhaps, by my prayer to my Lord, I shall not be unblessed. When he had turned away from them, and from those whom they worshipped besides Allah, we bestowed on him Isaac and Jacob, and each one of them we made a prophet. And we bestowed of our mercy on them, and we granted them lofty honor on the tongue of truth. Also mentioned in the book the story of Moses, for he was specially chosen, and he was a messenger and a prophet. And we called him from the right side of Mount Sinai, and made him draw near to us for mystic converse. And out of our mercy we gave him his brother Aaron, also a prophet. Also mentioned in the book the story of Ismail. He was strictly true to what he promised, and he was a messenger and a prophet. He used to enjoin on his people prayer and charity, and he was most acceptable in the sight of his Lord. Also mentioned in the book the case of Idris. He was a man of truth and sincerity and a prophet. And we raised him to a lofty station. Those were some of the prophets on whom Allah did bestow his grace, of the posterity of Adam, and of those who we carried in the ark with Noah, and of the posterity of Abraham and Israel, of those whom we guided and chose. Whenever the signs of Allah Most Gracious were rehearsed to them, they would fall down in prostrate adoration and in tears. But after them, there followed a posterity who missed prayers and followed after lust. Soon then will they face destruction, except those who repent and believe and work righteousness, for these will enter the garden and will not be wronged in the least, gardens of eternity, those which Allah Most Gracious has promised to his servants in the unseen, for his promise must necessarily come to pass. They will not there hear any vain discourse, but only salutations of peace. And they will have therein their sustenance, morning and evening. Such is the garden which we give, as an inheritance to those of our servants who guard against evil. The angels say, We descend not but by command of thy Lord. To him belongeth what is before us, and what is behind us, and what is between, and thy Lord never doth forget. Lord of the heavens and of the earth, and of all that is between them, so worship him, and be constant and patient in his worship. Knowest thou of any who is worthy of the same name as he? Man says, What? When I am dead, shall I then be raised up alive? But does not man call to mind that we created him before out of nothing? So by thy Lord, without doubt, we shall gather them together, and also the evil ones with them. Then shall we bring them forth on their knees round about hell. Then shall we certainly drag out from every sect all those who are worst in obstinate rebellion against Allah Most Gracious. And certainly we know best those who are most worthy of being burned therein. Not one of you but will pass over it. This is, with thy Lord, a decree which must be accomplished. But we shall save those who guard it against evil, and we shall leave the wrongdoers therein, humbled to their knees. When our clear signs are rehearsed to them, the unbelievers say to those who believe, Which of the two sides is best in point of position? Which makes the best show in counsel? But how many countless generations before them have we destroyed, who were even better in equipment and in glitter to the eye? Say, if any men go astray, Allah Most Gracious extends the rope to them, until, when they see the warning of Allah being fulfilled, either in punishment or in the approach of the hour, they will at length realize who is worst in position and who weakest in forces. And Allah doth advance in guidance those who seek guidance. And the things that endure, good deeds, are best in the sight of thy Lord as rewards, and best in respect of their eventual return. Hast thou then seen the sort of man who rejects our signs, yet says, I shall certainly be given wealth and children? Has he penetrated to the unseen, or has he taken a contract with Allah Most Gracious? Nay, we shall record what he says, and we shall add and add to his punishment. To us shall return all that he talks of, and he shall appear before us bare and alone. And they have taken for worship gods other than Allah, to give them power and glory. Instead, they shall reject their worship, and become adversaries against them. Seest thou not that we have set the evil ones on against the unbelievers, to incite them with fury? So, make no haste against them, for we but count out to them a limited number of days. The day we shall gather the righteous to Allah Most Gracious, like a band presented before a king for honors. And we shall drive the sinners to hell, like thirsty cattle driven down to water. None shall have the power of intercession, but such a one as has received permission or promise from Allah Most Gracious. They say Allah Most Gracious has begotten a son. Indeed, ye have put forth a thing most monstrous. At it the skies are ready to burst, the earth to split asunder, and the mountains to fall down in utter ruin. That they should invoke a son for Allah Most Gracious. For it is not consonant with the majesty of Allah Most Gracious that he should beget a son. Not one of the beings in the heavens and the earth, but must come to Allah most gracious as a servant. He does take an account of them all, and hath numbered them all exactly. And every one of them will come to him singly on the day of judgment. On those who believe and work deeds of righteousness will Allah most gracious bestow love. So have we made the Quran easy in thine own tongue, and that with it thou mayest give glad tidings to the righteous, and warnings to people given to contention. But how many countless generations before them have we destroyed? Canst thou find a single one of them now, or hear so much as a whisper of them? Surah Ta-Ha. Ta-Ha. We have not sent down the Quran to thee to be an occasion for thy distress, but only as an admonition to those who fear Allah, a revelation from Him who created the earth and the heavens on high. Allah most gracious is firmly established on the throne of authority. To Him belongs what is in the heavens and on earth, and all between them, and all beneath the soil. If thou pronounce the word aloud, it is no matter, for verily He knoweth what is secret and what is yet more hidden. Allah, there is no God but He. To Him belong the most beautiful names. Has the story of Moses reached thee? Behold, he saw fire. So he said to his family, Tarry ye, I perceive a fire. Perhaps I can bring you some burning brand therefrom, or find some guidance at the fire. But when he came to the fire, a voice was heard, O Moses, verily I am thy Lord. Therefore in my presence put off thy shoes. Thou art in the sacred valley Tua. I have chosen thee. Listen then to the inspiration sent to thee. Verily I am Allah. There is no God but I. So serve thou me only, and establish regular prayer for celebrating my praise. Verily the hour is coming. My design is to keep it hidden, for every soul to receive its reward by the measure of its endeavor. Therefore let not such as believe not therein, but follow their own lust, divert thee. Therefore let not such as believe not therein, but follow their own lust, divert thee therefrom, lest thou perish. And what is that in thy right hand, O Moses? He said, It is my rod. On it I lean, with it I beat down fodder for my flocks, and in it I find other uses. Allah said, Throw it, O Moses. He threw it, and behold, it was a snake active in motion. Allah said, Seize it, and fear not. We shall return it at once to its former condition. Now draw thy hand close to thy side. It shall come forth white and shining, without harm or stain, as another sign, in order that we may show thee two of our greater signs. Go thou to Pharaoh, for he has indeed transgressed all bounds. Moses said, O my Lord, expand me my breast, ease my task for me, and remove the impediment from my speech, so that they may understand what I say, and give me a minister from my family, Aaron, my brother. Add to my strength through him, and make him share my task, that we may celebrate thy praise without stint, and remember thee without stint, for thou art he that ever regardeth us. Allah said, Granted is thy prayer, O Moses. And indeed we conferred a favor on thee another time before. Behold, we sent to thy mother by inspiration the message. Throw the child into the chest, and throw the chest into the river. The river will cast him up on the bank, and he will be taken up by one who is an enemy to me and an enemy to him. But I cast the garment of love over thee from me, and this in order that thou mayest be reared under mine eye. Behold, thy sister goeth forth and saith, Shall I show you one who will nurse and rear the child? So he brought thee back to thy mother, that her eye might be cooled, and she should not grieve. Then thou didst slay a man, But we saved thee from trouble, and we tried thee in various ways. Then didst thou tarry a number of years with the people of Midian. Then didst thou come hither, as ordained, O Moses. And I have prepared thee for myself, for service. Go thou and thy brother with my signs, and slacken not either of you in keeping me in remembrance. Go both of you to Pharaoh, for he has indeed transgressed all bounds. But speak to him mildly, perchance he may take warning or fear Allah. They, Moses and Aaron, said, Our Lord, we fear lest he hasten with insolence against us, or lest he transgress all bounds. He said, Fear not, for I am with you. I hear and see everything. So go ye both to him, and say, Verily we are messengers sent by thy Lord. Send forth therefore the children of Israel with us, and afflict them not. With a sign indeed have we come from thy Lord, and peace to all who follow guidance. Verily it has been revealed to us that the penalty awaits those who reject and turn away. When this message was delivered, Pharaoh said, Who then, O Moses, is the Lord of you two? He said, Our Lord is he who gave to each created thing its form and nature, and further gave it guidance. Pharaoh said, What then is the condition of previous generations? He replied, The knowledge of that is with my Lord, duly recorded. My Lord never errs nor forgets. He who has made for you the earth, like a carpet spread out, has enabled you to go about therein by roads and channels, and has sent down water from the sky. With it have we produced diverse pairs of plants, each separate from the others. Eat for yourselves and pasture your cattle. Verily, in this are signs for men endued with understanding. From the earth did we create you, and into it shall we return you, and from it shall we bring you out once again. And we showed Pharaoh all our signs, but he did reject and refuse. He said, Hast thou come to drive us out of our land with thy magic, O Moses? But we can surely produce magic to match thine. So make a tryst between us and thee, which we shall not fail to keep, neither we nor thou, in a place where both shall have even chances. Moses said, Your tryst is the day of the festival, and let the people be assembled when the sun is well up. So Pharaoh withdrew. He considered his plan, and then came back. Moses said to him, Woe to you! Forge not ye a lie against Allah, lest he destroy you at once utterly by chastisement. The forger must suffer frustration. So they disputed one with another over their affair, but they kept their talk secret. They said, These two are certainly expert magicians. Their object is to drive you out from your land with their magic, and to do away with your most cherished institutions. Therefore, concert your plan, and then assemble in serried ranks. He wins all along today who gains the upper hand. They said, O Moses, whether wilt thou that thou throw first, or that we be the first to throw? He said, Nay, throw ye first. Then behold, their ropes and their rods, so it seemed to him, on account of their magic, began to be in lively motion. So Moses conceived in his mind a sort of fear. We said, Fear not, for thou hast indeed the upper hand. Throw that which is in thy right hand. Quickly will it swallow up that which they have faked. What they have faked is but a magician's trick, and the magician thrives not, no matter where he goes. So the magicians were thrown down to prostration. They said, We believe in the Lord of Aaron and Moses. Pharaoh said, Believe ye in him before I give you permission? Surely this must be your leader, who has taught you magic. Be sure I will cut off your hands and feet on opposite sides, and I will have you crucified on trunks of palm trees. So shall ye know for certain which of us can give the more severe and the more lasting punishment. They said, Never shall we regard thee as more than the clear signs that have come to us, or than him who created us. So decree whatever thou desirest to decree, for thou canst only decree touching the life of this world. For us, We have believed in our Lord. May he forgive us our faults and the magic to which thou didst compel us, for Allah is best and most abiding. Verily, he who comes to his Lord as a sinner at judgment, for him is hell. Therein shall he neither die nor live. But such as come to him as believers, who have worked righteous deeds, for them are ranks exalted. Gardens of eternity, beneath which rivers flow. They will dwell therein for aye. Such is the reward of those who purify themselves from evil. We sent an inspiration to Moses. Travel by night with my servants, and strike a dry path for them through the sea, without fear of being overtaken by Pharaoh, and without any other fear. Then Pharaoh pursued them with his forces, but the waters completely overwhelmed them and covered them up. Pharaoh led his people astray instead of leading them aright. O ye children of Israel, we delivered you from your enemy, and we made a covenant with you on the right side of Mount Sinai, and we sent down to you manna and quails, saying, Eat of the good things we have provided for your sustenance, but commit no excess therein, lest my wrath should justly descend on you. And those on whom descends my wrath do perish indeed. But without doubt, I am also he that forgives again and again to those who repent, believe, and do right, who in fine are ready to receive true guidance. When Moses was up on the mount, Allah said, What made thee hasten in advance of thy people, O Moses? He replied, Behold, they are close on my footsteps. I hasten to thee, O my Lord, to please thee. Allah said, We have tested thy people in thy absence. The Samari has led them astray. So Moses returned to his people in a state of indignation and sorrow. He said, O my people, did not your Lord make a handsome promise to you? Did then the promise seem to you long in coming? Or did ye desire that wrath should descend from your Lord on you, and so ye broke your promise to me? They said, We broke not the promise to thee, as far as lay in our power, but we were made to carry the weight of the ornaments of the whole people, and we threw them into the fire. And that was what the Samari suggested. Then he brought out the fire before the people, the image of a calf. It seemed to low. So they said, This is your God, and the God of Moses, but Moses has forgotten. Could they not see that it could not return them a word for answer, and that it had no power either to harm them or to do them good? Aaron had already before this said to them, O my people, ye are being tested in this, for verily your Lord is Allah most gracious, so follow me and obey my command. They had said, We will not abandon this cult, but we will devote ourselves to it until Moses returns to us. Moses said, O Aaron, what kept thee back when thou sawest them going wrong, from following me? Didst thou then disobey my order? Aaron replied, O son of my mother, seize me not by my beard, nor by the hair of my head. Truly I fear lest thou shouldest say, Thou hast caused a division among the children of Israel, and thou didst not respect my word. Moses said, What then is thy case, O Samari? He replied, I saw what they saw not. So I took a handful of dust from the footprint of the messenger and threw it into the calf. Thus did my soul suggest to me. Moses said, Get thee gone. But thy punishment in this life will be that thou wilt say, Touch me not. And moreover, for a future penalty, thou hast a promise that will not fail. Now look at thy God, of whom thou hast become a devoted worshipper. We will certainly melt it in a blazing fire and scatter it broadcast in the sea. But the God of you all is the one Allah. There is no God but He. All things He comprehends in His knowledge. Thus do we relate to thee some stories of what happened before, for we have sent thee a message from our own presence. If any do turn away therefrom, verily they will bear a burden on the day of judgment. They will abide in this state, and grievous will the burden be to them on that day. The day when the trumpet will be sounded. That day we shall gather the sinful, blear-eyed with terror. In whispers will they consult each other. Ye tarried not longer than 10 days. We know best what they will say when their leader, most eminent in conduct, will say, Ye tarried not longer than a day. They ask thee concerning the mountains. Say, My Lord will uproot them and scatter them as dust. He will leave them as plains, smooth and level. Nothing crooked or curved wilt thou see in their place. On that day will they follow the caller straight. No crookedness can they show him. All sounds shall humble themselves in the presence of Allah, most gracious. Nothing shalt thou hear but the tramp of their feet as they march. On that day shall no intercession avail except for those for whom permission has been granted by Allah, most gracious, and whose word is acceptable to him. He knows what appears to his creatures as before or after or behind them, but they shall not compass it with their knowledge. All faces shall be humbled before him, the living, the self-subsisting, eternal. Hopeless indeed will be the man that carries iniquity on his back. But he who works deeds of righteousness and has faith will have no fear of harm nor of any curtailment of what is his due. Thus have we sent this down, an Arabic Quran, and explained therein in detail some of the warnings, in order that they may fear Allah, and that it may cause their remembrance of him. High above all is Allah, the King, the Truth. Be not in haste with the Quran before its revelation to thee is completed, but say, O my Lord, advance me in knowledge. We had already beforehand taken the covenant of Adam, but he forgot, and we found on his part no firm resolve. When we said to the angels, Prostrate yourselves to Adam, they prostrated themselves, but not Iblis. He refused. Then we said, O Adam, verily this is an enemy to thee and thy wife. So let him not get you both out of the garden, so that thou art landed in misery. There is therein enough provision for thee not to go hungry, nor to go naked, nor to suffer from thirst, nor from the sun's heat. But Satan whispered evil to him. He said, O Adam, shall I lead thee to the tree of eternity and to a kingdom that never decays? In the result that they both ate of the tree, and so their nakedness appeared to them, they began to sew together for their covering leaves from the garden. Thus did Adam disobey his Lord and allow himself to be seduced. But his Lord chose him for his grace. He turned to him and gave him guidance. He said, Get ye down, both of you, all together from the garden, with enmity one to another. But if, as is sure, there comes to you guidance from me, whosoever follows my guidance will not lose his way, nor fall into misery. But whosoever turns away from my message, verily for him is a life narrowed down, and we shall raise him up blind on the day of judgment. He will say, O my Lord, why hast thou raised me up blind while I had sight before? Allah will say, Thus didst thou, when our signs came unto thee, disregard them. So wilt thou this day be disregarded. And thus do we recompense him who transgresses beyond bounds and believes not in the signs of his Lord. And the penalty of the hereafter is far more grievous and more enduring. Is it not a warning to such men to call to mind how many generations before them we destroyed, in whose haunts they now move? Verily in this are signs for men endued with understanding. Had it not been for a word that went forth before from thy Lord, their punishment must necessarily have come. But there is a term appointed for respite. Therefore be patient with what they say, and celebrate constantly the praises of thy Lord, before the rising of the sun and before its setting. Yea, celebrate them for part of the hours of the night, and at the sides of the day, that thou mayest have spiritual joy. Nor strain thine eyes in longing for the things we have given for enjoyment to parties of them, the splendor of the life of this world, through which we test them. But the provision of thy Lord is better and more enduring. Enjoin prayer on thy people, and be constant therein. We ask thee not to provide sustenance. We provide it for thee. But the fruit of the hereafter is for righteousness. They say, why does he not bring us a sign from his Lord? Has not a clear sign come to them of all that was in the former books of Revelation? And if we had inflicted on them a penalty before this, they would have said, our Lord, if only thou had sent us a messenger. We should certainly have followed thy signs before we were humbled and put to shame. Say, each one of us is waiting. Wait ye therefore, and soon shall ye know who it is that is on the straight and even way, and who it is that has received guidance. This concludes the reading. Surely Allah speaks the truth.